Hey everyone, especially Robinhood users, meet Kevin here. I wanted to do a quick breakdown on exactly why Nikola stock has fallen over 55% in the last month, over 41% in just the last week, and as of the time of this recording, over 17.48% just today. Also, I want to talk about why Tesla is surging and what Robinhood has to do with all of this. I'll also give you price targets on these two companies. If you follow my price targets and you lose money, it's not my problem. I'm just doing my best. Warning, this is also designed to be a short video. It is not a deep dive on these companies. I've done that many times before, so I won't cover that again in this video. This video is also sponsored by life insurance. So get life insurance in as little as 5 minutes. It was super cheap for myself and Lauren, and we were able to Apple Pay or Android Pay for it. And well, we love it. It's easy and it gives you that peace of mind, especially during a pandemic. So time to have life insurance. Anyway. Bottom line number one, no, Nikola is not falling because the brand is having trouble or problems or whatever. Nothing at Nikola has changed. In fact, Nikola warned that exactly this was going to happen. You just had to actually read their S1, which is publicly filed with the SEC. Hedge funds knew this. I knew this. I talk about this kind of stuff in like my stock and money course regularly. But Robinhood investors didn't know this. This meant two things. This meant number one, Robinhood promoted Nikola via their trending tab because, well, the stock was doing really well at a certain time. No other metrics given as to potentially why, other than some really cool marketing. While at the same time, it meant that hedge funds were able to protect themselves from this Robinhood-induced euphoric rise by shorting the crap out of the stock. Because hedge funds knew what was coming, they read the actual filings and they shorted the stock to protect whatever investments they had in it. So what was in that S1 filing that was so important? The filing said that 45 days after a specified date in May, up to 55 million additional Nikola shares could be registered with the SEC. Then, usually about 14 days after that registration, people can start dumping their shares if they want to. Now, why is that a problem? Well, here's the problem. There were only about 20 million shares available to the public at that time, and Robinhood users were eating them up. You could see a complete breakdown of how I know that Robinhood investors were driving up the price by looking at my warning video. That is, I warned that Nikola stock was going to crash 3 weeks ago. That video has over 319,000 views saying that this crash was coming. And here we are. The crash came. It was obvious, and every hedge fund investor saw this coming. That's why it was so expensive to short the stock. If you wanted to short the stock, it was like impossible to even short it because you couldn't even borrow shares for it. Anyway, don't worry about that part. Think about it this way. And I'm rounding here a little bit for the numbers just to make things a little bit easier, okay? If you had 20 diamonds in your pocket and somebody walked over to you and dumped an extra 55 diamonds into your pocket, each of your diamonds in theory would be worth a little less, right? It's basic supply and demand. But in this case, instead of diamonds, I'm talking about 1 million shares of Nikola stock. That means there were 20 million in the market, and all of a sudden somebody came by and dumped another 55 million shares into the market. Of course, there's going to be downward pressure on the stock. Now, why though are investors dumping the stock? Because they could just hold the company, right? Why are they selling all their shares? Does the company suck? Well, I'll talk about the company in just a moment and my thoughts on it, and I'll talk about my thoughts on Trevor. But here's why most hedge fund investors, are dumping. They bought into this company for $10 per share about 3 months ago. That means they've literally doubled their money as long as the stock trades for $20. If the stock trades for $30, they tripled their money in a matter of 3 months. Like, they killed it on this deal. So in my opinion, there's a huge race to dump these shares right now because the hedge funds like to trim their winners. And that's very, very normal. Hedge funds have also heavily shorted the company, and when you play both sides, you do create a little bit of buying pressure as well to close the shorts. Basically, you're like a buyer and a seller, which creates this extreme volatility, and that's kind of exactly what we're seeing on the charts right now. These massive downtrends with these temporary spike ups and down. It's crazy the amount of volatility that's happening right now. And I'm not about to pull up charts and start trying to read candlesticks for y'all. I just want to give you some bottom lines. So that's the bottom line on what's happening. Robinhood pushed a bunch of traders who had no idea what was happening and the share dilution that was coming into the stock thanks to the trending tab of the stock. Now, I like to blame Robinhood for that, but let's be real. It's the individual investor's fault, and that's obviously what Robinhood's going to say. Whatever. And okay, now you have hedge funds dumping the stock, and now you have the price going down. Does that mean that Nikola sucks? No, it's happening because the hedge funds are taking profits, and it's totally normal. Now, what does this actually mean for the future of Nikola? Well, let me first mention the future of the stock, because that might be one of the reasons you're here, and then I'm going to talk about Tesla and give you some price targets. First, for Nikola, in my opinion, in theory, if everybody dumps these shares that holds it as a hedge fund, this stock could go down as low as $20 to $25 per share, plus or minus, $5 or so, but it might not. And that's because it depends on how many shorts get covered. It's so complicated. I mean, if you could predict the future, you could make a lot of money. Okay, you can make more money than buying below market value wedge deals in real estate, which I always do. But here's the thing. In my opinion, I personally am a buyer of Nikola under $20 a share. At the time of this recording, I'm not bullish enough to say that I would buy it at $25 per share. However, Trevor Milton has some pretty brilliant ideas. Think about just ignore everything you've heard about Trevor for a moment and Nikola. And I know that might be hard, especially if you're a Tesla fan. Don't worry, I get it. I'm almost at 2,000 Tesla shares, baby. Come on. But Tesla keeps going up, so it's hard to get to that 2,000 share mark. But anyway, so if anything, I'm with you. I'm a Tesla fanboy, okay? But one thing that I will give Trevor credit for is think about this. The number one massive problem that hydrogen has is a lack of hydrogen infrastructure. People can't sell hydrogen cars when you can't get hydrogen gas. You can't fuel, nobody wants the car. It makes sense. Guess what Trevor does? Why don't we release a pickup truck, the most popular type of vehicle in America that has a dual fuel system? It's got a battery system with electric motors, and then it has a hydrogen system that could also feed the electric motors. Now think about this. You basically have a version of a Tesla with a hydrogen system as well. And so that's brilliant because it instantly creates a hydrogen demand. You instantly have people out there who are actually driving cars that use hydrogen, and people might have demand for hydrogen, so gas stations might actually be induced to start having hydrogen infrastructure at their gas stations. So for that reason, I do respect Trevor, and while I am skeptical, I am hopeful, and I want him to succeed. But again, the proof is in the pudding, and I don't buy pudding unless I get to try it. So bottom line, no, Nikola stock is not falling because of the company, it's falling because of what was already said was going to happen. But again, because Robinhood doesn't make finding all that out easy, or maybe because Robinhood users as a bunch are less likely to read the SEC filings, I don't know, I don't care. It doesn't matter. That's what happened, okay? Now, why is Tesla skyrocketing? Well, Tesla, in my opinion, is not winning because Nikola is falling. That is, I don't think Tesla's going up because Nikola is going down. Instead, you want to know the big driver as to why I think Tesla is skyrocketing right now? We don't even have to look at percentages. It was like $950 a few weeks ago, and now it's like $1,400. Why is that happening in my opinion? Well, let's just stick with the theme of the video for this explanation. And look, I've done my Tesla analyses before. I know they beat delivery expectations during the pandemic. I think they're a great company. I know Elon Musk put out the shorts, but maybe this is just jaded of me, okay? But I'm gonna give you my price target on Tesla in a moment as well. But let me just give you this chart right here. Look at this chart. This right here where the arrow is, it was about a few weeks ago when there were half as many people in Robinhood holding Tesla shares. This arrow over here is now. You can see that Robinhood users, or the amount of Robinhood users who hold Tesla shares, has doubled at the same time as the stock has gone up. It seems to be that every time a stock does really, really well, Robinhood users pile in on it. And then as soon as it stops doing well, people pile out of it. It seems like the exact opposite of what we should be doing. Now, as far as Tesla's price, I will nibble on Tesla under $1,500, and I will buy it more heavily under $1,200, and I will really buy it heavily under $1,000. I was buying it pretty regularly in the 7s, 8s, and 9s, and obviously during the March and April period where it was trading between the $6, $5, $4, and even $300 range. Those were great opportunities. Of course, everybody looks back and says, should have bought more more. Duh. We could always look back and go shoulda, coulda, woulda. All we could do now is look forward. But what I will end this video out on, other than suggesting that you get life insurance, and check out my programs down below, including my money and stock course, is this. Everyone likes to bag on Robinhood users, saying they're just dudes and ladies in their basements, and there's no way these unsophisticated investors are going to affect stock prices. And honestly, in my opinion, that is 100% wrong, because there are a lot of us dudes and ladies in our basements buying Tesla on Robinhood. I'm one of them, and you don't even know if I'm wearing pants.